Today, we're going to be talking about centralized application systems. This is a crucial part for all health professions, basically, who use a centralized application system. And this is the kickoff week. This is the first workshop, and we're doing kind of like a centralized application system individual workshops. So on our schedule, you can see we have Amcas 101, CASPA 101, PharmCas 101, basically all of them. Most health professional schools that you are applying to do all use a centralized application system, medicine, dentistry, nursing, PA. It's kind of like the Common App or the UC app. You input some basic information and then it goes to all of your schools, very helpful. Programs like genetic counseling and some public health programs and some nursing schools may not use a centralized application system. They all look the same, so I'll have some screenshots as the slides go on and you can kind of see they all look the same except for Amcas. Amcas looks a little different. So Adonia, could you remind me what health profession you're interested in pursuing? Dentistry. Okay, cool. So I'm going to be using the screenshots of the different health professions to kind of show you what it looks like. And then again, like I mentioned, we'll have specialized centralized application system walkthroughs for each health profession starting today and following this week. So this presentation should be fairly general. Okay. So here is what the login looks like. So again, this is for ACOMAS. All the other centralized application systems have the same login. So for dentistry, it's going to look the same. The first thing when you open the centralized application system is you're going to see a list of schools. You're going to need to add at least one program, but don't worry, it can be easily added and deleted. You know, if you decide to change your school list. So don't worry, it can very easily change. So this is the Amcas login. And so by this point, the 2022 application cycle has already opened. And so many of you may already be in Amcas for those who are pre-med. You can start submitting starting May 27th. Okay. So this is the main 4 sections for all the centralized application systems. You can see there's personal information, academic history, supporting information, and program materials. Okay. In Amcas, so this is what it looks like. The first section is going to be identifying information. So you put legal name, preferred name, alternate names, ID number, birth and sex, very basic information. You can kind of see here how it looks like, just some basic information. Again, for every other application system besides Amcas, this is what it looks like. So I have screenshots of CASPA, but again, they all look the same. The personal information is very similar to Amcas. There is an advisor release statement, which basically says, do you want some of your data to be released back to us as your pre-health advisors? Please check yes. That information goes back to us so we can help better serve our students and get a more accurate idea of our statistics. Things like some of your personal information, financial and disciplinary information is not shared with us. So don't worry, it's not traceable back to who you are. We don't have any names or anything of the sort. So again, this is what the biographic information section looks like. So you can see pretty similar again, first name, alternate name, sex, birth information, all those kinds of things. Oops. I accidentally closed the sharing window. Let me reshare. Okay. Contact information, pretty straightforward. Your address, permanent address, all these kinds of things. Citizenship information, pretty basic again. Race and ethnicity. Family information, you're going to talk about, I think, just your parents' income and things like that. Give me one moment to, okay. Again, similar basic information. They're going to ask you questions about your environmental factors. So where you grew up, where you, what your childhood life was like. Did you feel like you're medically underserved? Things like that. And then finally, other information. So any misdemeanors, language proficiency, any academic infractions. So I'm gonna say right here, if there's anything that's on your record that was erased. So I know Davis sometimes has these things where if you have some sort of record, they say will be expunged after you graduate. You wanna make sure you put everything on your record, just because, you know, medical schools, dental schools, they have a funny way of finding things out. So even if something is off your record when you graduate, you want to make sure you include that in kind of like the academic section. You just want to be as honest and as transparent as possible. Okay, so this is for DO. So just for A, Comas, this asks you about the influences that led you to choose DO. And kind of here's what that looks like. You can see, how did you learn about osteopathic medicine? Check all that apply, yada, yada, yada. And then this is new, of course, for basically all of the health professions. There is a section where there's a COVID-19 impact statement. And so you can see, did your school move to offering online? Did you have the opportunity to receive a letter grade for any of your courses taken during the COVID crisis? And of course, there's a COVID statement. For DO, the COVID-19 impact statement is 2,500 characters, and you can kind of talk about, you know, how COVID has impacted your personal, professional, and academic life. Okay. Moving on to the next section, academic history, pretty straightforward. You're going to put in high schools attended there, enter the high schools, colleges attended. And so you're going to input every single institution that you took college coursework from. So obviously all of you are Davis students, so you'll put Davis. If any of you have community college coursework, even if it's from a different institution and you transferred it to Davis, you want to put that college here. Also, you're going to want to request official transcripts from that community college to send to Amcas, AdSAS, CASPA, whatever. They require the official transcripts wherever the credit originally came from. So just a heads up for that. You can see when you add the college or university, which college did you get a degree awarded, or degree in progress. For those who are fourth years currently and applying, you're going to put degree in progress, right? Quarter, semester, trimester, are you still attending it? Just basic information about being a Davis student or being a student wherever else. This is a professional transcript entry. Basically, they enter your coursework from your transcript on your behalf. It's up to you if you want to do this. It saves you time. Obviously, you don't have to do the labor of inputting your transcript into your centralized application system. Costs money. It's up to you. Most of our students can succeed just fine copy pasting their own transcript into the kind of centralized application system. You want to make sure, again, when you're inputting classes, that you enter it exactly how it appears on your transcript. So if it says Chem 002A, you need to put Chem 002A, not missing any zeros. Enter everything exactly how it appears so that the centralized application system, when you're undergoing verification, they don't flag you for anything. Okay, I'll pause here and ask for any questions. I know we had a little bit of a mix up with the Zoom link, but I did record the first half of this, so you all can go find the first 10-ish minutes on YouTube once this workshop is over. But does anyone have any questions so far? I just basically in the beginning went over just the personal information section. And then feel free to unmute or use the chat function. I have screenshots of both the DO, CASPA, and Amcas. So basically, Amcas is the only centralized application system that looks different from the other ones. So I have screenshots of both. Yep, of course. Good question. Yeah, this is a long presentation. There's 51 slides. Anything else? Okay. All right. I will continue on to the standardized test section. So again, you can see you can put any of standardized tests you've taken. Okay, I see question. What would summer classes be for class? Like, what about summer classes after your senior year? I'm assuming you mean you're submitting in June and then you're taking summer session. Is that what you're asking about? Kathleen, could you clarify your question? Putting in courses? Yeah. So you can put in courses and then you indicate the term. So like the quarter, let me go back. I think you can kind of see it here. Oh no, I don't have it. I don't think I might not have a screenshot, but you basically put in your courses and then you enter the date and when you took it. Okay. Would I put it as senior year or post undergrad? If your degree was awarded after that matter of fact, then you would put it as senior year. If your degree, yes, if you got your degree and then you took classes, you would put it as post undergrad. Yeah. Cool. If we submit in June, do we add the grades of summer courses later? Is that necessary? It's up to you. So you get verified only once. So you're not going to go back and input your academic history again. But in some secondaries, like you could update schools, like I've taken XYZ course, stuff like that. But you do only get verified once, and they're going to process your academic stuff just once. Yep. All right. Good questions. Okay. Okay, so this is for Amcas. You can see looks very similar to all the other ones in terms of content, but it looks a little different. But again, you'd put the schools attended, high school, you'd put a high school, and then you'd put Davis, dates attended, program type, did you earn the degree, basic information about your time here at Davis, languages. So this is kind of back to the personal information section, your language proficiency, the usage, be sure to make note of that's in the red box. Usage means how often you speak the language in your household. So I know a lot of students may speak a second language, but maybe they don't use that at home. So be sure of that little note there. This is the coursework section for Amcas. Again, keeping in mind of that note. For courses with lab, if the course name didn't state lab, we were to add in and lab to the course name. So that would apply for something like general chemistry. I know it doesn't say general chemistry with lab. Same with OChem, and I think a lot of the classes at Davis. Add and lab to the course name. This is for Amcas. And so you can kind of see the term, fall quarter, course classification, course name, course number, credit hours, your grades, special course types. You can see an example of like, I believe that second class is a seminar, so it was a pass fail. Okay, I see there's a question in the chat. So if we need to retake a course at a CC during fall of a gap year due to a C- at Davis, how would we put that in? So if you're submitting before you take that class, you can put it as in progress. But if you didn't register for it, but you wouldn't be able to I guess, like send the official transcript because you wouldn't have the grade yet. Did that help? Yes. Okay, awesome. All right. So coursework, pretty straightforward. Again, inputting everything exactly as it appears. I know Amcas, the course classification can be kind of confusing, and we've been getting a lot of questions about that. In general, it's pretty strict BCPM. If you have anything where you're not sure if it's BCPM, you could try putting it into your BCPM, but Amcas is pretty strict on that. So I would say if you're unsure and it's gray area, it's not on the BCPM list, it's probably going to fall into all other. Okay. All right, so this is the Amcas disadvantage statement. It is self-identified. It is not asking if you're underserved. You can be disadvantaged without being underserved. We did do a presentation about the disadvantage statement and how to write that, and that's on our YouTube channel. So I'll just gloss over it very briefly. You have 1325 characters in Amcas, and basically you're answering like, something has gotten in the way of you having access to resources or reaching potential. Okay, do we put AP courses in the transcript portion? Yes, you do. There is a special designation. There are some special rules about AP courses. I'm actually going to pull up the 2022 Amcas guide because they're very 2022 Amcas handbook. They have very specific specifications on how you input your AP courses. I'll put that link in the chat while I'm speaking. Yes, you can put courses you're currently taking as in progress. AP credit, okay. So I will actually pause this share and share my screen about AP credit just so you all can see that. Okay. AP courses should be entered under the term of where the college credit was initially granted for. So most of the time in our case, Davis doesn't say when you got the AP credit because you did it in high school. Usually include it under freshman coursework, include the AP courses only once by selecting advanced placement as the special course type. Okay, I see a question. Do you also put classes that you're planning to take next year? I want to say yes, but I will double check on that because I know it's not on your official transcript. So I'm not completely sure because you have to send official transcripts, but I will double check and get back to you, Kathleen. I'll write that down. Okay. And then could you message me your email so I can get back to you once I have that answer? Okay, back to the presentation. Okay. All right. So this is back to DO or any of the other, basically anything but Amcas. Back to that. So this is CASPA. This is the supporting information section, 3 out of 4 sections. In this section is where you get your letters of rec, your experiences, your personal statement, all this extra stuff kind of goes. So you can see in your letters of rec, you basically create an evaluation request, and then emails are going to get sent to your letter writers on your behalf. Again, we have a video recording up on our YouTube channel that is about letters of recommendation. But basically you'll input some information and then they will input it. They will upload the letter into CASPA, AACOMAS, ADSAS, Amcas on your behalf. Okay, moving on to the experiences section. Basically, again, you may update this information at any time prior to submission. Once you've submitted, you can add more experiences, but you cannot update or delete completed experiences. Okay, so this is how it looks. You're going to put the type of experience. So the type is going to depend on every health professional school. So the type categories, usually it's like volunteer, work, clinical related experience, basic categories like that. You're going to put the name of the organization, enter all that information. Want to put a supervisor, contact information, contact email, experience date, current experience, yes or no, end date, status. I think that's like part-time, full-time, volunteer, title, type of recognition, average weekly hours, number of weeks, and then the description of your experiences. So you get 600 characters for CASPA. This is CASPA screenshots. Release authorization, may we contact this organization? You want to check yes. They get so many applicants that they don't have time to check every person's application, but of course you want to check yes that they authorize to contact it, just in case. You never know if something happens, but they do not have time to check most people's hours and verify them. Achievements, so enter any relevant professional or academic achievements in several categories. And so this is like honors and awards and things like that. Pretty straightforward. Licenses and certifications. So if you're EMT certified or you have a CNA license, or you're like basic life support, CPR certified, that's where you can put something like that. Pretty basic as well. And then the personal statement. So again, this is the CASPA personal statement. Why do you want to be a PA? 5,000 characters. They're going to differ for each health profession. Pretty straightforward again. All right, and then I'll move into the last section, which is program materials. And so this is where the school specific information comes in. So at the very beginning, I'll repeat it again. The first thing you do when you log in is you have to choose a school. It's very easy to just add and delete school. So if you're not sure yet which schools you're applying to, you can totally add and change them at any time. This is where you get into school specific materials. So for example, we chose the CSU Monterey Bay PA program. You can see when you open it that they have documents. So they may want to upload like any licenses or certifications there. And then you can also see prerequisites in that tab right next to documents, where you're going to match the classes that you've taken into their prereq database and kind of match the prereqs for their requirements. Cool. Every school's kind of little tab like this is going to look a little different, but that's basically what they all generally look like. You can see when you click submit application, this is what it looks like. You can see the fees for all of them. And this is where you also see the status of your application as well. All right. Are there any questions so far before I move into Amcas? Basically the Amcas, what that looks like of everything I just talked about. How does Interfolio work with this then? Good question. So what's going to happen is you're going to go into your Interfolio account, transfer the letters over to your centralized application system, and it should pop up in your evaluation section. I believe you enter like your Amcas or AACOMAS ID number, and you move the letters from Interfolio to Amcas or ADSAS or DO. No, I don't believe so. Because you control where they go in Interfolio and when they get there. I do know you have to upgrade. So in Interfolio, you have to upgrade and pay, I think, $48 to move the letters. Yeah. All right. Good question. Okay. All right, I'll move on to the Amcas section and what that looks like. So this is the Amcas work and activity section. Their experiences section is 700 characters per experience. And then you get an extra 1325 characters for your top 3 most meaningful experiences. And you get up to 15 entries. So if you think about it, if you have 10 experiences at 700 characters each, that's already 7,000 characters. And your personal statement is only 5,300 characters. Just to do kind of a comparison, you do have more characters and writing in the experiences section to showcase more about yourself, just to kind of even that out. Okay. All right, so this is what the Amcas experiences section looks like. You can see, again, it's basically the same information. It's asking experience name, start date, end date. You can do up to, the reason why there's multiple start and end dates is basically it's like you can say you did the experience, it's repeated experience. So like if you did one thing over the course of multiple years, but it was like at different times, that's where you can put these repeated hours. Again, pretty straightforward: organization name, country, contact name, things like that. Experience description, is this meaningful? You click yes, this is meaningful, you get that extra 1325 characters to talk about the description. Pretty straightforward. That's how it looks for all of them. You categorize the type of experience and then you put in all the details. Letters of evaluation. So again, only for Amcas, not for any other health professions. In Amcas, you can designate which letters go to which school if you want. This is only for Amcas. For DO, PA, pharmacy, all letters go to all schools. So you can see here it says letters may be added and assigned to medical schools after you submitted your application. However, once you've submitted, existing letter entries cannot be edited or deleted. They can only be marked as no longer being sent. Okay, and again, letter status, you can track that. Letter ID, you'll need to fill out the letter request form when you ask for letters of rec, similar to all of the other professions. The standardized exam section, again, pretty straightforward. I want to highlight this slide because I know some applicants may be taking the MCAT and submitting first their primaries without your MCAT score. So medical schools need to know if they should expect future MCAT scores in support of your application. Do you have an upcoming or recently taken MCAT exam date where an official MCAT score have yet to be released? If you do, you want to check yes. Be sure that you update this section afterwards if you've gotten your score, so medical schools know they don't need to wait for your MCAT score. So this is really emphasized by the AAMC. So you really want to be sure once you've gotten your MCAT score that you go back to this section and check no once you've received your scores. So medical schools know they're not waiting for your scores anymore. Yes, Sean, basically, yeah, exactly. I was just going to say you can just put one Shields Avenue if it's a Davis professor. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, of course. I also have a question on letters of evaluation.
Yeah.
So one of my letter writers recently asked me what's the deadline for sending in the letter of rec, and I know that you can continue to, like you just said, you can send the letter after you send the primary application. So technically they can send it in as late as like the end of the summer, but what's the best way to respond to that?
Good question. Yeah, so technically your letter is due by the time you submit your secondaries, because medical schools aren't going to read anything until all components of your application is in: primary, secondary, letters of rec. However, I think want to give your letter writers some buffer time. So let's say you submit in June and you're planning to submit your secondaries in mid-July. I would give them about a month of buffer time. So tell them your deadline is mid-June, just in case some things happen.
Got it. That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. What Madeline also said in the chat works as well. You just want to make sure you give yourself some buffer time just in case. Yep.